YouTube Bass Day. It's like, actually somebody commented a couple of weeks ago that how come we don't do basses very often? And the reason is I don't get as many basses in to set up. Most of the basses I've done videos of are mine, and I've kind of done videos of them all the time. So we've got another Jim Deacon, Hendrix. See, it says Jimi Hendrix, very close to, in fact, where this strap actually has Jimi Hendrix's signature on it. Just knock that over every single time. It's really, there's Jimi Hendrix's signature, right? It's not that different from, in my head. Anyway, yes. So we've got a Jim Deacon, and Jim Deacons of this era and of some of the Sharpie logo ones as well have the amazing gloss amber neck thing. I suppose kind of like your Squire Classic Vibe type thing. Quite a proper P Bass Fender headstock. I don't know how they get away with that. Sometimes you see it and it's like there's is it Westfields, where you can see it's not exactly a straight string pull, but it's a ball hair off. Sometimes you get ones that look like they've got a Fender headstock, but actually when this string kind of goes like this, because this tuner is here, so it's sort of like a Fender headstock, but it's a bit more this way. Very, very close. Open geared elephant ear tuners, none of which rattle. All of them are slightly bent though, but it doesn't make any difference how they work. It's one of those things that I wouldn't bother. The only time you ever notice them is when you're actually putting strings on. Even when you're tuning it a wee bit, you don't notice. I say bit, you can actually see just the actual bits in the top, but none of them rattle, so I wouldn't ever bother changing them. But I think one of the reasons I never get basses in is because bass players just tend to just play with badly set up basses. When they buy a new one, oh, the action's a bit high in this bass, better get a new one, as opposed to actually just getting it fixed. So this one is actually for sale, not by me. My pal Neil's selling it, Front Row Guitar from the Steam team. Tried to get me to sell it for him. I've got so many things to sell, I don't want to sell it, but I've asked him to use this video when he puts the advert up for it. I think he was wanting 110 quid for it or something like that. I suggest, I think I got 125 for the sparkly pink one, which could be, is the sparkly pink one better or worse than this one? I don't know. This is more, it's not sparkly pink, which I think a lot of people might not like though. This is a bit more, I don't really want to say normal. It's like, it's got that same thing actually. I had a G&L Strat in last week, and it was like a sort of tortoiseshell thingy with a sort of maroon body, and this is, it's not quite burgundy, it's not red though, I don't think. It's a dark red, and the tortoiseshell, actually I think it's quite classy looking. It's pretty good. I mean, I didn't really have to do any setup on it. I just did a wee bit of truss rod and a wee bit of intonation and making the strings curve a bit, so I'm not charging any money for setting up. Yeah, so these basses are awesome. I would totally have no problem playing this in the Black Sabbath band. In fact, I'm pretty sure actually the rest of the Black Sabbath band would probably be quite happy if I used something like this, because it looks more like Geezer Butler's P Bass rather than, well, the two I've been using, which are like, neither of them are particularly Black Sabbathy, even though that one is the same paint that I used to paint the logo on the bass amp, so it matches the bass amp. So playing through the Marshall with the band logo on it. It's an MB, it's a B150. It does have an odd tone control. You can see it certain angles. This one's gold and this one's silver. You can get a couple of silver ones for like £2 off eBay if you really wanted to. I quite like the fact they're different colours. No tone. I never used to use the tone control on my bass. Then when I started doing the Sabbath stuff, I use it all the time. knows how loud they're going to be compared to the bass. Not bad, pause for a second. I was just checking to make sure the mic wasn't up too loud and it wasn't just farting out. Hopefully it wasn't. Strap's just slightly low for me. Makes all the difference just having this. I would never adjust somebody's strap when I borrowed their guitar. Oh, this is it didn't have a strap on it. This is mine. Found lying on the floor. So I mean, again, it's kind of the same with the Jim Deacon Stratocaster. More so than the Stratocaster. It's a total P Bass. It's like it just totally is a P Bass. Anyone, it's like it's not. The difference between this and like the £1,000 Fender is not that much. It's not a huge amount. You know, it's not like you're not really suffering anywhere having this rather than having like a proper American P Bass. Well, obviously the P Bass, the American P Bass will be nicer. It'll probably look better, but I mean it's just so there. Great. Now what I did was I don't know, a couple of months ago my pal was up let me some pedals to try out. One of them was an MXR bass distortion, which he told me was like a rat pedal for bass, and I tried it and it was like, oh, I like that a lot. I looked them up, they're 90 quid. So I fixed some guitars and he gave me it. Yay! So I'm going to try the. I think I might use it for the Sabbath band. Rat bass. NIB's not as fast as that. I don't think I'll be able to use that much fuzz, to be honest. With the band, you won't hear me. It'll just be it'll just be like a tsunami coming in rather than actual notes. Tone. Depends how. I don't really play that poppy slappy stuff because I'm not very good at it. It's a lovely bass. I love playing the bass. Bass is amazing. But I mean, if you've got half a dozen, 10 guitars, you don't have a bass, you could do so. Pick up one of these, 100 odd quid, something like that. Maybe well, it should be. Assuming if it's a good one, if you know what you're looking at. But the thing is, if you play the guitar, you know what a bass is meant to be like anyway. You know, you want the tuners all to work, have 4 strings, and you know the volume control stuff to work without crackling. That's kind of all there is to it, and as long as the action's not too bad, you know what I mean. Just rod works. There's so much fun to be had playing the bass. Once you get over that hump at the start of being able to continually play, a click track helps, or that wee drummer pedal helps a lot, because it just means I can just keep going. And as you know, it's all there. It's like, you know, that whole. I don't think a lot of bass players understand the power you have playing the bass. You know, that's what I was playing. I was just playing along with that very basic punk drum sound thing, and it's like the difference in whether you play on the beat, off the beat, before the beat, after the beat. How you can just totally, completely transform what the music is going to be like just by how you play the bass. Doesn't necessarily have to be super complicated. Just like, you know, just the playing before or after, and just letting things ring and trying to be a wee bit quieter. And it's just bass is totally underrated. I mean, I can just play the bass all day. Yeah, so give me a message if you're interested in buying this here in Glasgow. A pal's selling it. I don't need any more basses. So many. And I dare say, going to the point, how does it compare to, like, you know, the Roadster or the Washburn? I find them more interesting because they're not quite P basses. Apart from that, physically, playing wise, you would never notice. I mean, if you would never notice me, or I wouldn't notice when I was playing at a gig. You know, if you wouldn't be able to tell whether I was playing this or one of them. No chance. Even if I swapped over, you wouldn't be able to know. And I wouldn't. It's just exactly. Leo just got it right first time. So this is, well, very nearly first time. So obviously the Telecaster was the first. Well, no, the Telecaster you did get guitars. Guitars existed, and then they put electrics in them, so electric guitars did exist, but you know, like your hollow Gibson, ES33, whatever they are, you know, they've got like a P90 and a hollow body guitar, so you did get electric guitars, but the Telecaster was the first one that was like a solid body, just electric. But the bass, the P bass, is like the first. This didn't exist in any form. This is basically meant to be an electric version of an upright bass, which are the size of this house. You know what I mean? You can sleep in the case for it. And they look big when you see them on stage. You look big when you see them, but see when you actually hold one, my God, they're so big. I got a shot of one of my pal Steph one time. He's like, I've got a double bass. You ever had a shot of that? No, he's a shot of that. Went into his spare room, and it was like, it's like, playing double bass like this, sort of. Think like that. It's like holding a mattress. It's like, you know, it's that deep, and it's like, and the thing's about 9 feet tall. That was the only, and they weren't electric either. So that was your bass thing. And Leo's idea was to make it so you could play the bass lines on something you could carry and plug into an amp. So he decided that a 34-inch scale was the way to go. This shape, I think, is actually pre-Stratocaster. So a Stratocaster's almost a copy of a Stratocaster. That one, there's definitely a Stratocaster, no arguments there. It's almost the same shape. You know, you only got Telecasters at the time, so this is kind of, the Strat was almost a copy of the P-Bass. You've got the 4-arm chamfer, you've got the chamfer on the back. The only real difference between this, or what you if you go into a guitar shop just now and look for a P Bass, you'll find ones. You probably won't find a Jim Deacon one, but you'll find all the Fender ones just look exactly the same as this. But when they started off with the P Bass, the scratch plate was a slightly different shape, and it didn't have the split pickup. It had like a single 4-pole pickup, and I think this pickup came in about 1955 or 56 or something like that. So okay, it's not been there from the very first P Bass. It's not identical to the first one because it's got a different color, a different shaped scratch plate, which makes no difference, and a different design of pickup. But once they'd done that in the 50s, it was definitely the 50s at some point, they're still the same. They've not done anything. There's the volume of tone, the pickup, and the bridge, kind of just what it has to be, and all that. It's amazing how you do the comparison thing of like. I haven't seen it for a while. It used to be like you'd see on Facebook, and it showed you like a car, a phone, and a Stratocaster from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and it's like the car and the phone changed a lot, and the Stratocaster got a 5-way switch in 1978 or something, and that's like that. Imagine what a phone looked like in the 50s. And all that. I think that might even been pre. You had the thing you had to dial. A mechanical phone. Pre that, when you just picked it up, you just had the thing on the wall, and you went, "Hello, Whitehall 242," and that's how you phone number. It was like that kind of thing. Cars were like Model Ts and stuff. Mental. Amps have got better. Mind you, I'm still sitting there going like that. That's probably a 90s amp. It's probably 25 years old and still considered that to be a relatively modern amp. But it's all you need, P Bass, and I'm not one for. I do have guitar basses that have got more pickups, but ultimately, I just want a volume, a tone, and a P Bass pickup in anything. It's just does everything I want. Even the jazz bass pickup, which does more. Maybe if I was a bit more into jazz or a bit more into popping and slapping and Les Claypool type stuff, maybe other pickups would be of use as well. But for me, it's like a P Bass. Buy a P Bass. Buy this P Bass if you don't have one. Rockin'. Catch you later.